Hey guys, my name is Kendrick and welcome to ENFP Mail. Today I get to interview Rick Callahan. So welcome, man.
Hey, thank you. Thanks, Kendrick.
Yeah, I really like your name. It sounds so cool, like Callahan. Like it sounds good, Like
It's almost like a celebrity, right?
there's something about it. It's like it sounds good. Like Rick Callahan sounds awesome.
Well,
Um,
thank you.
so you're an INFJ, Rick, but what kind of INFJ are you?
Uh, Double feminine, NIFE, blast, play, consume, sleep.
Now, when you got your type back from Dave and Shan, what did you think and how did you feel?
I wasn't very surprised, actually. I've thought I was INFJ for a long time.
Right.
And so when I reached out to them and talked to them about this a little bit, I was second guessing that, am I actually an INFJ? And then the conversation was basically, yep, you are. Here's your variation, basically. You're not like the typical Myers-Briggs version, but here's how it works out for you. And that was pretty cool. It helped me to see why I might be perceived more extroverted than maybe some other INFJ types.
Right. Are you the only one in the class that has this type right now, currently?
I think so. I don't know. I mean, in my doc, all I see are celebrities, so I don't know.
Right. So the cool thing about this interview is that we have the exact same animals. Almost,
Yeah.
like almost. Um, let's start with that first. So you have double masculine sleep. Like your internal world is double masculine. How do you experience that? And does that mean
Yeah.
having sleep less is not so bad because it's double masculine?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what to compare it to, right? Because I don't know what it's like to be anybody else. Um, but I know that I guess on my own worldviews and kind of what my kind of truths are, I'm very strong on them. And so I'm a little slow moving. I can be pretty stubborn, but I'm incredibly friendly when working with other people. So it's kind of it's I can kind of I guess they call it cat energy, right? To be seen one way on the playful extroverted side, and then my patience runs out after a certain point, and then it's a little bit of a lash out when my real truths have to come out, and it comes out pretty incisively and very aggressively. Um, that's kind of how I experience it with like dynamic relating to other people. Um, as far as like kind of sleep processing and thinking for myself and like identity and stuff like that, it's slow moving. It's kind of I feel like I've grown up slowly internally. Um, always kind of looking outward, looking at everybody else, and not developing my own sense of self until maybe the last 5 or 6 years, and more significantly in the last couple of years. You know.
Has anyone experienced that swing when you went from friendly Rick, with that with your, I think it's double feminine play that you have,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and then your patience ran out, and then suddenly you swang with a double masculine internal world. Has anyone ever experienced that, and what's that like?
uh, yeah. Usually it's the people closest to me, and it's typically if I'm really hungry, really tired. I get really irritable. My patience goes out the window. I'm really cranky, and I have no tolerance for indecisiveness of other people at that point, and I'll just kind of lash out and I don't know. I'll make decisions for people because I don't care anymore.
Right.
But it's very short lived. Once it's out, I go, oh wait, oh, okay, I got that out there. I'm a little better. I just need to eat, or I just need to sleep, or I just need to whatever it is. But yeah, usually it's the people closest to me. My brothers, I've always experienced that. My significant other, closer friends. That's pretty much it.
So it sounds like a good example of double decider that you were just doing there, because after you swang at them, you're like, oh my god, I went too far. Let's dial it back. Does that sound about
Yeah,
right?
well, yeah, I would say that's probably right. It's more that I forgot my double deciding when my swing happens, and then
Right.
oh, I remember it. Because usually all day long, I kind of have I don't know, conversations, fake conversations of other people, what they might think, what they might feel, or how they might react to certain situations. Just kind of scenarios playing out in my head. It's pretty automatic. I can quiet them down, but they're always happening in the background. And if I'm trying to make a decision on literally anything, I can feel kind of mine, but I definitely know other people's possible perceptions on that. And so I'm usually analyzing all that stuff pretty easily. And it's only when I can see mine very clearly, all that goes away, and that's in
Gotcha.
that swing. Yeah.
Gotcha. I'm very curious to ask you this question. So when I've interviewed INTJs in the past and the ones that had masculine NI, the way they described it is they forget about their body because they're so focused on that thing that they're working on. Like they forget to go to the washroom or they forget to eat. Um, and it's almost like they're headed to a cliff because they've completely forgot about their body, the sensory world for kind of what that thing they're focusing on. Now, is it the same for you as an INFJ, or is there a little bit of a difference with that? And how do you experience that masculine NI?
Yeah, it's tough for me because the introvert intuition I think is so automatic. Like everything just feeds into that. I don't think I perceive it. I don't think I even can sense it. But when it comes to like losing touch of my own body, I think I always have a grasp that it's there. Like if I have to go to the bathroom and like I'm holding it because I'm really like getting through some concept and thinking about some big lofty idea or whatever, planning something, whatever. Um, it's in the back of my mind. I don't lose it completely. I'm sensorily aware that it's there. I just choose not to do anything about it. I have heard that though. I've heard INTJ types say that they literally feel like they're just a floating mass of consciousness, and
Right.
I can't relate to that really.
Is it because you're still a feeler at the end of the day? Like you're still an INFJ, and because they're
Perhaps I'm not sure why. To be honest, I think the play side of it keeps me engaged, and animal wise. And I'm engaging with others, so I'm constantly aware of like checking my sensory to like play it out and see what's bounce it back and forth, and that's feeding into the intuition. It's really only when I'm kind of sleep processing, in which case that's like me going to literally sleep or whatever, in which case that's automatic mode. I know I'm doing a thing, or running or whatever. So I don't know.
do you think it's because your extrovert sensing is double activated? Like you have consume and play, and they're both hitting that SE, right? Like, do you think that's
Yes,
helping a lot with you being?
probably. I would say so. Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, it's one of those confusing things, right? Like, how does me consuming and then me using play suddenly allow me to use SE? It's kind of odd, but
Yeah, no, I just kind of a little riff on the play with the consume for me. I've always used that as a kind of a technique for me to be able to express myself. So it's kind of like looping all the way through back to the NI. Like I can conceptually know I want to express something to someone else or to people, and I want to get them to feel something, a certain feeling. That's my understanding of what something might be. I do it through like creating things, usually like music, art, or writing something, or websites, or cartoons, or podcasts back in it, like all this different stuff. And I'll just throw in all this sensory just willy nilly until something kind of cobbles together, and I'll use that as kind of a tool to play with and bring to people to kind of prove a bigger point of an NI concept. So like that's like my hobby there. That's my fun area. So
right.
I'm keenly aware that I do that stuff, but it's something I have to activate and push myself into. You know.
I find it interesting that you mentioned that you were into podcasting, writing, cartoons. Um, it sounds like there's a lot of variety there, and IJs are known to kind of stay in their box, but then you do have that double activated SE. So, do you think as a result of having a double activated SE, you have a little bit of an EP kind of tendency there?
It sounds like it the way you worded it there, but it's always the same damn stuff I'm trying to express or share or talk about. It's the same. It's always personal growth or psychology stuff or helping somebody else understand emotion. It's the same damn thing since I was 14.
So just
It's
different mediums
still,
then.
it's just different mediums
Question.
to like, it doesn't matter which thing I'm doing it in. Like my business is actually the same freaking thing. It's another way to help people. It's another way to express certain concepts that might expand people's perspectives and how they can grow. So the medium is like, it doesn't matter to me. It's more like which one can I pick as a tool which best suits this need for me to kind of work with the concepts with people.
I think the fascinating thing though is that the fact that you even explored multiple mediums, you know,
Oh
because
yeah.
from what I've seen,
Well,
sorry, yeah, keep going.
yeah, I think my career path has helped me there because like I started as a graphic designer, just kind of playing on a computer. You know, when our family got our first computer back whenever, and just playing in Paint, and then eventually like Paint Shop Pro and Photoshop and this and that and the other thing. And it turned into like a job by accident, and I started freelancing, and that turned into a business, and that's grown and grown and grown. It's been more the external demands from the freelance to the business that has allowed me to like, they want this thing, how the hell do I do that? And then I had to figure out, you know, I had to go learn, I had to go figure out new uh, skills and techniques and mediums to work within. And usually it was for those external forces to kind of push me in that direction, you know?
Right. So it was a consequence. It was as a result of you trying to meet the demands of the external world.
When it started, yeah. Now I do it for fun.
Right.
You know, my YouTube channel is just kind of putting myself out there and try to challenge it and learn a new thing. And yeah.
So your business is in graphic design, you said. Is
Well,
that
that's where it started. So that's kind of like the core skill set there. But I do a lot more consulting and strategy for small business owners and helping them with their branding and their marketing. And then we have a full creative kind of back end agency model that can do all the, you know, web design, graphic design, video, photo, stuff like that.
I see. So you have a do it for you kind of service, and then you
Mm-hmm.
also have a consulting, coaching kind of deal. So you have
Yeah,
multiple services that you offer.
yeah, and they all just kind of lead towards the same thing of helping people grow their business or grow themselves.
Do you have a team or do you work by yourself?
I have a small team, yeah. I
And then,
wouldn't do all those things if it was just me.
right, right.
Basically, I kind of dive into these things, figure out how it's going to work, find the level of quality that I would expect or want it to be, and then I hand that off. I can delegate that, and I have the people who do that particular skill set or these particular sets of skills to achieve whatever.
Do you find that by being a double decider, delegating is something that's not too difficult for you? Like you understand how people work and how they behave, and you know, for you, balancing people is not so much the main problem.
No, I'm pretty good with the people part. It's when I have to like deal with my own schedules and like the details of project management and things like that. But then I delegate that a lot to somebody that's my right hand person in my business, and she's amazing at that stuff. She's very sensory oriented and detail oriented and task oriented. So together we kind of like make a single person, you know.
So is your partner someone that is SINTE then, would you say?
That's exactly what I think she is.
Like an
Yeah.
ISTJ or an ESTJ or something? Or
I never fully um, never fully like settled in on something, but I would go with SI and TE are probably in there pretty strong. Yeah.
gotcha. That's
Yeah.
awesome, man, because you found someone to balance you out, you know, for the areas that, you know, you would struggle with.
Yeah. Yeah. It kind of worked pretty well there.
Now, it's interesting that you got into graphic design because you're double feminine, and as a result, you're good with visuals and you're also a tester.
Yeah.
Let's
It's
talk about
playing
that.
for me.
Sorry?
It's just playing for me, just having fun with like visuals and yeah.
Yeah, because the visual stuff that drains me. I can't I can't do it. Like it's so hard, you know. I'm auditory, so I learn very well with music, or like I made a music video once. My first time making a music video on using Final Cut Pro, and I was surprised how fast I picked up, like, you know, putting the music with the right image, and so
Yeah.
that kind of proved that I was extremely auditory. You know, it was like a natural talent. I also teach spin, which is, you know, auditory and kinesthetic, right? So
That's cool.
yeah, so it's I just find it funny that our sexual modality really kind of points us to the right career, you know, like
Yeah, for sure. That to me was kind of eye opening to see that modality stuff and figure out what it actually means and how it relates to. Well, that is literally what I'm just testing out a whole bunch of stuff, and visually, I'm more inclined towards the visuals of things. Yeah, for sure, absolutely.
now I do want to ask you about being a tester. So that's the one that confuses a lot of people. Like, what exactly do you do as a tester? You know, like that's really confusing for a lot of people.
I don't know. I don't know if it relates to the modality or function. I don't know. What am I trying to say here? Um,
Can I give you an example of how someone
Yeah,
describes?
please. Yeah.
Yeah. So I interviewed a double feminine ENFP recently. He kind of has a Jesus look, and and he said the way he uses his tester is like, let's say he's going to a Mexican restaurant. He wants to try
Yeah.
all the different sauce that they offer there. Like he wants to have a little bit of sample of each of the different sauce. And I thought that was a really good way of describing what a tester is. It's like, oh, okay, so you want to sample of a little bit of everything before you decide on, hey, this is the one I like, you know. So I don't know if that
Yeah.
applies to you or not. So I kind
I
of
mean, I just enjoy that you brought up the food concept, because I do love trying. I will try any. You put food in front of me, I will try it.
yeah.
Doesn't mean I like most of it, but you know, you never know. You never know what you don't like with that stuff. So for me, like, there's feminine sense, extroverted sensing there. There's the modality. There's all that stuff playing together. It's like, I just like food, so conceptually I know that's the thing, and I'm going to try all this different stuff. And to me, it's also what are these different. And here I am, like NIing this. Ready? I'm trying these different cultural types of food, and how does that relate back to these cultures, and how does that relate back to the people, and why do they make it this way versus that way? Why is this fried chicken from this country one way and this fried chicken from another country another way? Whatever, you know.
Oh my God.
That's yeah, a little blast there. That's the fun stuff for me, is like I can abstract so much more from the simple little experience, and trying a whole bunch of different things and seeing what actually works for me, what works for other people, things like that.
Yeah, 'cause it sounds like you're a foodie, first of all. And then
Yeah,
so
there's that.
yeah, so you like to try different food. And then it sounds like you use your TI right after to kind of like solve a puzzle. It's like, oh, you know, why did this culture choose to do it like this? You know, and
Yeah, that's just kind of the geek inside, I think, who wants to break out all the time. He's not very good at it. I don't think it's something I work at. But it's fun. It's incredibly fun for me. Everything can be a puzzle. And if I think of anything in life as that, it makes it easier to try, you know? So I go at it in that way, whatever it is.
so if you don't use that attitude that I want to let the geek out, I want to go puzzle something, figure something out. If you don't have that thought process in the back of your head or in the forefront, would you say that you would not be more willing to try something new? That would kind of hold you back from trying something new? Because Jason, are the stereotype is you like a box. Like you have a box and
Well, yeah, I like things to be consistent, and I like to understand why things will be different or change if they're going to change on me, but it has to be kind of my choice, under my control in some way, to allow for the new experiences. So like, for example, my significant other would be like, hey, let's go let's go watch a play or a show or something. And I'd be like, ugh. But every time I'm like, I'm so amazed that this is such a cool experience, and all the light and the music and the stuff, and it's so awesome, and I learned things, right? But like, I'd rather just be doing the thing I was already doing in that moment when it was brought up. It wasn't my idea, you know? If I can turn it into a game in my mind and go, well, what would this be like? You know, what is that show, or what is that experience going to be that's being thrust upon me here? Then my curiosity will get piqued, the geek will come out, you know? So yeah, there is kind of a nature of like wanting things to be my way without knowing that's what it is. And then I have to kind of slowly come to new experiences, or force myself to just go, screw it and go for it. And to realize that, the stubbornness was just stubbornness.
how often does it happen to you where you're like, let's say your significant other or friends would say, hey, Rick, let's go do this. You're like, oh my God, don't really want to. But then your tribe above self, they're like, okay, fine. And you get blown away. You know, how often does that happen? Like, is that pretty
Outside, externally, it'll probably be like, that sounds great. Yeah, of course. Let's totally do it.
Yeah.
Inside, I'm going, what am I doing? Stop it. Stop. Like, go, no, you just got to sleep. You haven't like literally gone home and slept in date or whatever, something stupid like that.
Right.
I think that has been more the case in the past. Teenage years through my 20s, I'm mid 30s now. I've gotten much better with balancing that and being honest and having more boundaries and being like, that's a great idea. I think today I'm going to take it easy. Why don't we plan for next time and literally put it in the calendar or something like that.
Right.
So I find a balance there,
So since you brought that up, let's talk about your demon sleep. So let's talk about the physical sense of it. Do you feel like oftentimes you're exhausted and you crash at the end of the day, or do you have any health problems that as a result of having sleep loss? That's kind of like how they talked about people with sleep loss, health issues.
Yeah, I think it's my default state. This last year, actually, I think since joining Objective Personality, I've really put a strong effort into literally sleeping more.
Yeah.
And also by that I mean actually I've arranged my life this last year or two so that I can be home by a certain time and take a 15-minute to 30-minute nap. It's not even a full nap. It's like just zonking out and having no sensory input and just like being in my mind's flow, and by the time that 15 to 30 minutes is up, it's like I woke up for the day again. I'm recharged. My mind is clear. I can think again. And I can actually feel motivated, inspired to do things for the next however many hours in the day. And I'll use that effort and energy to give me the effort to do whatever it is I wanted to do for the rest of the day, whether that's build a business or work on my other extracurricular activities or just be lazy. So I'm much more aware of it now, but it's something I've been learning to do. It used to be that I was running until, especially when I started my business, I would be out until 2 a.m. at the office, just kind of getting things started for years. And then I'd get home, I'd crash around 2:30 or 3, and then I would just struggle to get out of bed by 10 and start the day over. And I would do it day after day after day after day after day. But now it's much more focused on what are my kind of end goals and what's the trajectory to get there, and how do I make sure each day I'm making kind of smaller steps and not trying to kill myself to get wherever I'm going.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
How's your exercise or nutrition? Are you pretty good with that area, or?
Exercise is better than nutrition. I can't stay away from. What's that?
You like food, so that makes sense.
I love food. I also can't stay away from sugar and sweets, and it's just awful for me.
You're a carb addict.
I love it. The simple stuff, the simple carbs and all that. Yeah, so I've gotten to running. Maybe 10 years ago, I used to try to jog. It was a fast walk around my block, my parents' block. And to give you a context, that's not even a quarter mile, right? It's not far. Yeah. And I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it without being winded and actually going back to walking.
Oh, wow.
After a while, once I got the progress and I could do a block, I would try for run it, and then I would try for 2 blocks. And now it's gotten to the point where within the last 10 years, I've been able to do 2 marathons. So
oh my God,
that's been it's been really cool.
Congrats, man. That's awesome.
Thank you. And the amazing part is the effort and mental, self-defeating attitude is the same as it was trying to go on the block the first time as it was going to the marathon the first time or the second time, or going out now, like tonight, if I go run for a mile, like I'll have the same mental, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I'm awful. This is terrible. Blah, 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 blah. Ugh. But I still do it. It's discipline. I've learned to just shut it up and do the thing. And once I'm out there, I'm like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And you get the runner's high and everything's fantastic. And then when you do it, you feel great and you have more momentum. I don't know where that tangent came from, but it had something to do with exercise.
Yeah, no, it's fine, man. It's fine. It's all good.
Yeah.
I mean, you obviously have to bring it to NF again at the end. So it's cool.
Yeah.
Man. So one of the things that they say is that NI likes to have like one concept that solves all problems. Like there's like one solution one concept, that solves a bunch of things. I also noticed that NI users tend not to like a variety of, let's go with exercise. So for you, it seems like running is kind of what you lock yourself into, right? But do you participate in yoga or lifting weights or any of that other stuff, or do you just focus on running?
That's a really good point. I want to. I have for a while. I had a personal trainer who helped me do the cross training, the weight stuff, and actually built some mass and all that. That was fantastic. But without him there to keep me accountable, I'm not doing it for myself.
Right.
It's really just the running and very basic stretching. I am actually thinking of doing yoga, but it's a very fuzzy, nebulous thought at this point.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I guess that area you need to outsource to someone. Otherwise,
somebody yell at me to do the other stuff and I'll do it. I have to be accountable to other people to do that. Work the system.
Okay, fair enough. Um, let's talk about your play above sleep. So, you know, the standard INFJ has sleep as one of their saviors typically. And they try to conserve their energy, but you have play above sleep. So how much energy do you have? Do you feel like you have quite a lot of energy and you can expand quite a bit? And then like you even mentioned earlier, just getting away from any sensory for 15 to 30 minutes and you're as if you had a full night's sleep already.
Recharged. Yeah, totally recharged.
How does that feel and how does that work for you? Like, I'm curious.
It's amazing when I do that because, and again, here's the like not realizing the logic and the sensory experience of it. But
Yeah.
when I kind of come back from that nap, it's like total recharge. I'm just amazed every single time. This is like a amazing life secret everyone needs to know. It's crazy because I've done it so many times now. You would think I would just know it. But the fact that I keep doing it is helpful, right? So to bring that back to your question, what was your question? Play above sleep, right? Talking about that.
Yes.
Yeah. So the energy, if you would have asked me a couple of years ago, I would say I'm always tired, always exhausted, always feel like I just need to go sleep for 4 days at a time, which kind of what I would do when I would go in my depressive states. I would like just be in a depressive state for like a month or two, and like I'd kind of come back and like anxiety would build up for a couple months, and then I would crash and I go just over and over and over. Now it's like, okay, it's 2 to 3 day cycles of all this stuff. And if I get my 15-minute to 30-minute nap, it's like I can just circumvent the whole damn thing. So yeah, I guess technically I do have a lot of energy, especially when I talk to people and they're asking me about the stuff I'm doing in life, about the business. They're like, wow, you do a lot. I don't feel like it's a lot. I don't feel like it's anything special. I just feel like I have interests and hobbies and people I'm trying to help and work with. And I do what I need to build my life around that. And when I can't do it enough, I'll get the sleep I need, literally or figuratively, to do more of that, you know?
So I wanted to ask you about you being an info dominant. You have blast and consume in your top 3 animals. How does that affect you when you have to deal with information? So if there's missing information, does that bother you a lot? Do you seek to have to make sure that all the information is available? Because not only do you have blast and consume in your top 3, you also have play, right? So you're getting your information from people using play, and then you're getting your information also from consume, just consuming for yourself. So how, like, I don't even know how to word this properly, but how important is it for you to have the accurate information? Like, there's no BS, everything is accurate.
Well, okay. So this is maybe where I can sense that my intuition is very strong and masculine. Because once conceptually I know something, like it doesn't matter what the sensory or consumption of that data is. Like I will justify or bullshit anything to force that intuition or that concept. And it's just something I physically feel in me. Like I get a sense of almost anxiety or like, no, this is wrong. Like you got whoever let's say I'm talking to somebody and trying to figure out a thing, and I know the concept needs to end up here. Like I'll force the sensory into that damn thing.
Yeah.
That's not always good to do, but it works pretty okay, I guess. As far as like consume and info dominant and all that stuff, no, I don't really get stuck unless it's like an insecurity when it comes to like my relationships with friends or significant other or family. And I feel like I misread somebody, which is, I hate to say it, but like it's not common. So when it does happen, it kind of throws me for a big loop. Like if somebody's words don't match their actions and I misread what that means, and then I behaved one way because of it, and then something comes out a different way after, it's like, what did I miss?
Yeah.
That's where I might get a little obsessive and stuck in my brain to try to figure it out and kind of go over that information, replay it in my head a million times, ask any questions I need to ask and perfect that. But, I think that's more of like that's triggered like a demon identity thing with the, tribe over self thing there. Otherwise, when it comes to like my work stuff, when it comes to like just learning anything for my curiosity's sake, I don't have to know everything. I know I don't. I can just kind of take what I need and go with it, and kind of get to a point where I'm stuck again, and then consume again, and then keep going, consume again, keep going. It's not like I have to consume all the things to do anything. I have to just consume enough to get going.
Right.
Yeah, so it's more like it just kind of works for me, you know.
So do you struggle reading books then, or like
Yes,
how do you consume?
100%. Yes, books are hard, because so I have a whole bookshelf over here, and I've probably read, if I average it out, it's probably I read 70% of every book there. And it's
Right.
because as I start reading one book, I have another 3 books about that topic, which might come from different perspectives. And
Yeah.
so like I'll read this book, I'll get to a certain concept, like, ooh, interesting. That reminds me of the other book. And then I'll go to that damn book, and then I'll read that one for a little while. And I'm like, oh, interesting. And I'll let that process, and I'll come back to it months later because I went on to some other topic. And it's like, it's just taking a little from everywhere to create a concept a little bit stronger from the sensory, because I only need so much to to work with it, you know? And then I'll go back when that interest is inevitably peaked again.
So you don't read books in one go. You read a little bit here, and then you read a little
Physical
bit here, and then
physical books,
stop for a few
correct.
months. You stop for a few months, and then maybe you'll go back, read a little bit again, and eventually you finish them after maybe a year, I guess. I don't know.
I'm looking at my bookshelf. I would say probably a little more than half of them have all been actually fully read.
Oh,
The others are just like I would just pick at parts, you know, like little samples.
yeah,
Um, and it's more to, like I said, it's more to like create a fuller picture of a kind of a bigger concept from
right.
different sources rather than like all in on one perspective, I guess. But that's physical books. It's hard for me. I don't, as I'm reading a physical book, my brain's just going off to God knows where.
Yeah.
With an audiobook, if I'm like driving to meetings or driving out of state, like I'll take an hour or two and listen, and I can do that pretty well, and I can get through the audiobooks much easier.
So audiobooks is your preferred method of consuming then, like.
Because I can distract myself while I'm listening to it. You know, I can distract myself from the sensory while I'm driving, right?
Yes.
And then my brain can take in the
Concepts.
consumption, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk about your identity. So you have demon identity. Has that caused a lot of problems for you in your life, or have you figured it out now that you said you're in mid-30s, right?
Yeah, I'm 35 now.
Oh, we're the same
Yeah.
age, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same animal, same age. Anyway, so uh, when did you discover your identity, and when did it become more solid?
When did I discover that's like it's one identity.
The multiple identities.
Hear me out here. Okay.
Sure, sure.
This is kind of where I'm at with this concept.
Okay.
Identity to me is, and of course I'm going to say this, but identity to me is something that is malleable and fluid. Obviously, I'm going to kind of like say that being someone who's double feminine with those other functions and all that, because when I'm explaining to anyone else, that's how I'm going to say it. I have to. Anyway, the point is like I can pick and choose conceptually the type of person I want to be. I can emulate other people that I perceive and see and experience things with, how I perceive that they see the world, how I perceive that they interact with people, or whatever, right? And so I can kind of pick and choose and emulate how I think they're modeling their inner world. And I fake it until I make it, and then it becomes actually a part of me. It actually literally internalizes and models inside of myself. So it's, for me, it's like I can constantly pick and choose aspects of what I see of other people and what drives them and their motivations and stuff, and create this whole character that is me. All the different roles I play in my life, whether it's you know, YouTube Rick, or business Rick, or you know, boyfriend Rick, or son Rick, or brother Rick. These are all different variations of the same person, obviously, right? But I attribute different aspects of how I present in each of those areas to those roles, and they're all me. It's not like they're different identities, but I can kind of take and mix them up and move them around for new circumstances if I want, right? So for me, it's like my identity is what I choose it to be. And I know that there are certain things that are probably not so malleable of myself. And I know that it's hard to change my understanding of certain concepts quickly, but I know I can do it. I've done it. And I know that given new circumstances, if my whole worldview blows up on me at some point, I know that I can come through, I can adapt, I can evolve, I can grow through it. And to me, my identity is the person who's able to do all these things and be all these roles and shift kind of chameleon-like however I need to, right? So it's not so much that it's like I would say I am an INFJ who wears glasses, who is a business. I hate saying that's who I am as an identity. Those are just things I do,
Right.
you know, and certain aspects of my cognitive functions. It's more of like, what are the choices I make given the circumstances I find myself in? That's my identity. You know what I mean?
I've noticed that individuals that have extrovert feeling are the ones who typically would do what you just mentioned, like having the chameleon kind of person, you know, like what is the best, you know, best kind of person for this situation, you know, and then you present that kind of person in that situation because it's more effective.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's kind of like, it used to be out of insecurity and like necessity to be able to like survive the situation. Like, oh my God, I might be embarrassed or do something dumb.
Yeah.
It's less about that now. It's more about being totally aware that all of this is kind of an illusion of how we all behave in front of each other. Like I can literally change the way I'm talking to you right now, start acting like a totally different person and make a choice to do that. I'll still be me, right? I'm not going to actually do that. It'd be really awkward for the interview. But the point is like, I can make that choice and it might serve the situation better. So it's more of a cognizant thing now that I can do, and I recognize that like, oh, the roles that I play given different circumstances are my choice, and
yeah,
that's where I find my identity.
I find that so fascinating. Like I love it, but it's I'm an FI user, so for me it's the opposite, right? Like I'm the same person for every situation. You know, it's like take it or leave it kind of like mentality. You know, like
but I would challenge that, right? From my perspective, I would challenge that and be like, well, so what is it about your core values? Where do those come from, and have they ever shifted? Have they evolved? Do they refine, or do they get more solid, or do they kind of loosen up and evolve over time? And to me, I would say, well, they evolve, and I would imagine for you, they probably maybe get more solid, your values. But like the way you present yourself, is that your identity, or is it your value system? Is that your identity? And I think that's where we come down to these decider functions, stuff like that, you know, whether it's introverted, extroverted.
Right. What about your truths? What are your truths?
That's a tough question to answer. Can you unpack that a little more? Can you ask that a little differently?
I don't have TI, so it's a little bit challenging for me, but I'll do my best. You know, what's the best way? Okay, so I have a mentor. He's an ISTP, and he you know, obviously they're extremely self-absorbed tribe, and I'm trying to figure out how to say this because I don't have TI, so it's very challenging.
Okay, thank you for trying.
yeah, no worries. I think from what I can see from him, because he's now moved on. He used to be I used to work with him because I work in the fitness industry, and he was my mentor in a sense that he knew more. He was better at me when it comes to the sensory, how the sensory stuff worked, and he would pinpoint the specific sensory part of people's body and how you could, let's say, using a trigger point technique to loosen up someone's body to help activate their muscle groups better. Right. No, because he was so hardcore when it came to the concepts and to the sensory, because he's quite balanced with the, you know, the NI and the SE, right? Mm-hmm. That he was very inflexible with people. Like sometimes people came to him to train and they felt like shit. Like they had a bad day at work, but because his FE was his last function, he just wouldn't cut them a break, you know, like, it's like, nope, you need to perform better than you did last time, right? But over time, he just learned that everyone is different and what works for everyone is different. And so he started, the truth for him is that everyone's different and that what works for everyone is different. Mm-hmm. And I know it's not, yeah. And then so now it's like he discovered his FE too, right? So like he's in his late 30s now. And now he's saying, the first thing he does now when his clients come in is like, how do you feel today? And it's like awkward, right? Because it's a demon. And then they'll tell him how he feels. And he'll take it at face value. Because obviously, you know, for you, when someone says something to you, I'm pretty sure you're not reading what they're saying. You're reading actually how their vibe that they're giving, right?
It's how they say it. It's never what they say. Yeah.
Exactly. But, you know, it's his fourth function. So it's a demon. So
yeah,
you get at face value. It's like, oh, the person says, I feel great. Then he'll just say, okay, then he feels great. And I'll train him
Yes.
as if he feels great. But he's trying now, right? So his truth is things are not, they don't work the same for everyone,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know if
So
that
I guess,
helps you.
yeah, it does. Thank you. So what I'm getting at that is kind of like, what are my personal philosophies that are my grounded truths that kind of guide me and whatever.
So to even to emphasize this, this is not a concept, because sometimes concept can be bendable, right? This is like a hard truth, you know, for
Yep.
yourself, for yourself.
Yep. I don't have, it's really hard to express it. And so this is a challenge. So thank you. I have literally words, singular words coming to mind right now. So I'm just going to say them.
Sure, yeah, let's hear it. Yeah.
Growth. Uh, okay, I have one word coming to mind. Growth. Okay. Let's put that to the side. Growth. Okay. And now the other thing is like something like if there's somebody I care about or respect or love or whatever
Right.
that's around me, and something or someone ever disrespects them at such a human and personal and intimate level in front of me, I like a monster comes out, and I will like push every button on that person that may have offended them, um, to kind of show them like, you're not in charge, you do not control anyone else, this is not about you, like push them that, like I'm getting angry right now thinking about it, push them away and whatever, because like some people are a little too obtuse in bullying or pushing others around, thinking that it's their responsibility to do so, when maybe sometimes some people don't necessarily need or desire that at that point. And I see a bit of that in life. I know it's very abstract the way I'm talking about it, but I see a bit of that happening from time to time, and that really riles me up. And it's something that's never changed. So like there's kind of like this idea of like protection of those who are not fully grown and can't help themselves yet.
Right.
So there's something there fuzzy that I can't really put to words, but that's an anecdotal nugget towards it. So growth, and then like helping people that can't really help themselves.
I'm curious though if that's TI or NI, because it's because if it's abstract, it's very NI, right? So
Yeah.
I'm not really the best person to ask this, because I don't have TI. I don't really get it.
Yeah.
Let's try a different angle on this. Have you ever punched someone with your masculine TI? Like, you know, like let's say someone is saying something that's illogically incorrect. Have you ever jumped in and like corrected them? You know?
Yeah, of course. And I will regain composure a few moments later. No, and it comes out very aggressive. It's kind of that cat energy I was talking about earlier. And it's usually when something has built up for a while of social cues being missed, miscommunication, and it's like, I feel like maybe I've been right the whole freaking time, and this other person or other people just haven't been getting it. And I can somehow uh, recall every fact and detail and sensory nuance to literally just barrage them with the truth of what the hell is actually happening, and tell them like, no, this is what happened when you said this, I asked you that, you said this, whatever, we were at that place, this happened then, that's why you're saying this now, but you're incorrect because this reason, and that's what I said before when I said that, and so this is what we're going to do. Like, it's very aggressive and shovey, and like, here's the rules, and there's no patience with that. It's just like, you know, I've been lenient enough, and you've been an idiot enough. Now here's the truth. I can't put that in any other words other than explain the situation from the outside of it. It has to just happen. But demon sleep processing for me, you know, I don't really know how to word it. It's just something I know
Okay, fair enough.
inside.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I'm just trying to get it like explained in a more sensory term. I have intuition like you. We're both lead in intuition, so I get exactly what you're saying. I'm just thinking from a perspective of someone that has sensory, and they're like, "What's Rick saying? Like, what is he talking about?
What the hell is he blabbing about right now?"
Yeah.
So for me to whittle that down, that's why I would like play with different mediums and try to like artistically create something that does it. And it takes me time. I have to like really strongly like feel this desire to explode out truth. And usually it's the way I will create something or write something or curate a speech. It has to be perfect if it's going to be my thing that's coming out. Otherwise, right now I'm just going to blather on like I am right now.
I'd like to follow up with you sometime in the future, like maybe, I don't know when, but I really want to challenge you to really get that singular truth, because I think that might be the area you need to put your attention on,
Focus.
like because like in the class, I don't know if you're still following the class, but there's this lady with a white hair. I forgot her name, but they did a class on this one lady with a white hair. She's an ESFJ, and I remember her truth was something along the lines like, you don't need to suffer. Like, at any given situation, like you can choose how you can react to it. Like you don't need to
Yeah.
suffer. Like suffering is
I
not
have,
or something
I
like
know I have more than a few truths though.
right.
And it's like, I can't pick one. These are like guiding principles that are innately understood and they don't have words. Yeah, but I appreciate you challenging me.
I have a good example. So one of my best friends, I think he's an ENFJ, and he's kind of been he never really knew his identity until until he got to his 30s, when he kind of figured it out. And what he figured out is, what makes me happy is spending time with friends. That's it. And he's like, growing up, he was a complete douchebag. Like he knows this. He knows this. Everyone knows he's a douchebag. He knows that. Like, and he used to screw people over and stuff, right? Like, because he thought it was amusing. He's kind of like sociopath kind of behavior. I call him that. He knows this. So if he watches this, it's fine. He'll probably just laugh. And then something changed all of a sudden. Like one day, he's like, okay, he stopped screwing people over. He stopped being he started like buying people things all the time. And he said, the truth for him is that friends is everything. Friends is everything. The truth is, friends is everything.
Okay, I have a couple of truths. I had to type it out while we were just chatting.
Yes.
I had to externalize it. I can't. All
Yes.
right, I have a couple.
Okay.
But one that I'll share is, and it's still wordy. I have to make it more concise. But the idea is that in the last few years, I realized, like, what the hell am I doing 13, 14 years in business? It's just like growing and shrinking and growing and shrinking and all this crap going on. It's been headaches trying to grow all the time with it, right? And it was always growth for the sake of growth, without meaning and purpose for myself. And I know when I started the business, it was for meaning and purpose. And it's always been to share my life with a partner, and just live simply. That's period. That's it.
Right.
And so that's like the nugget there. And then like the
Live
ancillary.
there we go. Live simply. That sounds like a truth.
Can I complicate it a little more?
Yeah, of course you have
to. I realized a little mantra I had to have, and this is a little mini truth to go with that truth, was I had to remember that I had to build my business around my life that I wanted, and not the life around my business.
Yeah.
That was in the last year. Like once I connected that and realized, oh, I don't want to live in a long distance relationship anymore. I need to build my business so that it can go anywhere. And I started making every decision based on that. It's like, wow, this is so much easier now. I have so much more time. Things work better. I'm more profitable. Whoa, it's amazing. And it's all because I want to have that kind of vision and that future of a simpler life, sharing it with somebody that I love,
You're getting greedy, man. You have more than one truth. I'm just joking.
Don't say that.
Yeah. No, because like I'm wondering now that you've mentioned that, because you said you have multiple truths, right? It's like, I wonder if you have TI higher up in the scale, that you have more truths, because it seems like an EJ with FE Savior, they seem to discover one truth for their life, right? But like you have it as your third function. So I'm curious now, if you have your first or second, do you have more than one truths then? I don't know. I'm just...
Well, and this is where I also say my identity is flexible, or I evolve it or pick and choose it, because I think the truths are tied to the identity.
Okay.
So like I have certain guiding principles and truths that I now realize I can pick them and decide. And suddenly every decision I make curates towards that. And suddenly that serves me well until I get to a point where it doesn't work or something, or maybe I have to tweak it again. I imagine, ask me when I'm 80 years old what my truth is. It'll be all of these in a very condensed version in one truth.
Right.
but I'm working towards that. You know, I imagine it's just a longer game. For now, I'm just kind of like, I'm a kid, just trying stuff and seeing what works and what doesn't work
Fair enough.
for me. Yeah.
I think they said that your third function, or I guess your demon, could be, you said it's a teenager age, and then your last one is like an infant or something. Your
That's
S.
really funny. Yeah, I would go with that. My sensory is pretty cruddy.
Yeah, your N9FE would then be like an adult, a mature adult,
Yes.
and then your
Yeah.
TI would be a teenager. Still going through puberty and angst, a little bit angsty.
A little angsty right now, you know. It's got to mellow out. It's got to fill out a little bit.
Yeah, and then your SE is just a kid. Like it's just a kid.
It's gonna stay a kid forever.
Now, I've always been curious about SE. Like when it comes to physical things, for you, are they not personal? Are they just like, if you lose something today, would you not care about it? Because I heard Lindsay from the class say that if she were to lose everything in her house right now, she wouldn't even budge. She won't even flinch.
It's only if it's like a sentimental item, and typically it's only sentimental for me if it's connected to other people in my life that I care and love about, care about and love. So like family members and things like that. Like if they gave me something that was important for them to give me for whatever reason, that's now important to me. And
Right.
if something happened to that, I'd be like hurt, or I'd feel guilty or something. But no, I mean, I try to personalize things for me now. It's
Yeah.
more like if something happened to my iPad, I'd be pretty pissed because my whole like life is on that thing, and that's how I think externally and all that.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. But like it's I can get another iPad and get my shit back. It would be annoying, but it wouldn't hurt me personally. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't get attached to the things themselves. I just like the things. But if they're gone, it's like I'll like something else, or I'll find a new thing to like. It's, I don't know, they're replaceable, I guess.
Is money something personal to you, or is it not?
No, I have no value for money. I know that it's a thing that I need to value, obviously, business.
Right.
I'm pretty terrible with it. Like I have to constantly like make sure I'm budgeting and trying really hard to do stuff that comes very simply to other people, I think, when it comes to money. I totally get it. I get the value of it all and like how the pricing psychology and all that stuff works, just to be a little more academic about it. But the practicality nature of it, you know?
Yeah. I've noticed that. So one of my sisters is an INFJ, and she doesn't seem to respect things. Like things to her is like, yeah, well, you can give it to someone, who cares? If you lose it, who cares?
Yeah, like I like sharing my things. Like I will let a friend like stay at my apartment if I'm gone for a while, because just so they can get out of their home that they share with other people right now. Like I'll let people borrow my car. It doesn't matter to me. Like, what else is the point of this damn thing that I have than to use it and share it? Like, it's not just for me to be greedy about it, you know?
So as someone that has SI and masculine SI, for me, everything that you just said, I won't be able to handle that. Like I don't lend people my car. I don't lend people like my stuff. I only lend it to people that has a track record of taking care of stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's like stuff for me is personal.
Yeah, it's not for me at all.
But I want to swing to the other side now. Are ideas personal to you?
Yes. Uh-huh.
And how can someone offend you by taking your ideas that you've shared, something that's, and then kind of like, I guess the best word to say is just shat all over it? How would you?
Yeah. It's, if somebody wants to disagree with me, that's cool. And ideas that I have that are kind of being developed, they're a little bit more fragile. There's a little bit of ego attached to it because I'm trying to come up with this idea, and that's coming from me, right? There's a little bit of ego if somebody like goes, that's crap. I'll be like, well, why? As long as they actually gave it thought and give me reasons that are like legit and not just like, I just don't like it. That's not valid to me. I don't go, if you don't like it,
Yeah.
tell me why my idea is not a good idea. Like, is it not applicable? Does it not work for people? Am I not seeing something? Is there other information that I'm not taking into consideration? Blah, 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 blah. Or if it's just me expressing something and somebody poops on it, and like, it's whatever. It's my own thing. Like at that point, I've detached it from others. in which case it's bulletproof. But if it's an idea that's being formulated or something that is like sensory based or going to solve a problem for other people, that's very insecure for me until it's fully formed. And I'll like constantly vet that thing against other people for validation as I form the idea or form the concept or whatever it is into reality, you know?
How would you get offended? So I'll use things again as an example. So if I lend something to someone and they don't return it back to me, or they return it back to me in some poor condition, then I'm going to be pissed, right? Because then you disrespected my thing. It's my thing, right? So for you, it's your idea. So how can someone, you know, for the lack of better words, piss you off?
Yeah, it's not taking care to appreciate the idea that I expressed or gave or shared, right? So if somebody were to, like, if I were to tell you, hey, I have a really good idea, I think it's going to help a lot of people or whatever it is. I wish I had a practical thing to say, but here it is. And you just immediately, without even thinking about it, said, that's crap.
Yeah.
I don't like it. And if I said, why? You'd be like, I don't know, I just don't like it. I would be not necessarily like personally offended. I would be angry and frustrated. And if you then told other people about this thing being crap, I'd be like, well, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, I don't understand your why you don't value this thing. I don't understand why you're not even trying. Like, you're not giving me anything back. There's no consideration towards my idea. There's no respect for what it is that I'm contributing of myself.
Are you also very secretive with your idea? Like you only tell a few people, a few trusted people, like you won't share
until it's ready.
Yeah, and well, when it's 5 obviously. If you tell your idea to someone, and let's say it's not complete yet, but you told someone, and that someone told someone, how would you be upset? And then that someone then takes your idea and disrespects it.
Oh yeah, I'd be upset with that. It's kind of like a secret, you know. It's kind of like there's a trust level there. I would see that as disrespectful.
Okay, so I'm only asking because I have NE, and for me, ideas is freely shared to everyone. Like they're not personal. They're not like, you know, like you say my idea is bad. I'm like, okay, I don't think it's not personal at all.
Well, I imagine you can also be like, here's another one, here's another one, here's another one, here's another one, here's another one. Whereas for me, it's kind of like it's all coming from this one, like deeper, you know, sort of refined, thoroughly thought through thing where it's like, I put work and energy and myself into this and I'm sharing myself with you.
I see.
And so now somebody's shitting on me and my sense of self and identity is attached to that fledgling idea. Once that thing is fully formed and out there in the real world, I don't care anymore. I moved on. I'm already on to the new thing. Because then it's like new sensory stuff. But while it's being generated and while I'm refining and crafting, if I'm sharing with somebody a conceptual idea, or even with clients, I'll be working on brand identities. Early on, it was very personal to share these concepts, 2 or 3 concepts of a brand identity for a business to the business owner. And if they go, I don't like it, it'd be like, how do I not be a dick to this person now and say why, right? And I learned that pretty quickly, but I got very good with those situations, being able to like get constructive feedback and not take it personally. But if it's something a little bit more personal about like emotions, because those are so foreign for myself, and I'm just figuring out whatever, and somebody doesn't actually even give the time of day and consideration if I'm trying to bounce it off them and work with them on it, work with them for me, whatever, then it's personal, it's offensive, it's disrespectful, you know. So
what about feelings? Are feelings personal to you? Because it's FE. Like, do you like how like? So here's the biggest thing I noticed with a lot of FE users. They might mirror your emotion, but once you leave the room, it's gone. It's not like hold it in. You know, it's not like you internalize it. It's not. As someone, the last person I interviewed said, I can cry with you, you know, I can be upset with you, I can feel what you're feeling, but the moment you leave, that's not my problem, that's your emotion, that's not my feelings. Do you share that notion, or?
For the most part, yeah, it kind of works that way. I can get emotional because a certain song is playing for whatever reasons, like it just is an emotional song to me, but maybe it's because it's actually tied to somebody else that was emotional with it, and I know that's their value. Like it's really wacky the way that works.
Yeah.
But when an emotion is like this curious, fuzzy thing that's welling up from inside and I can sensorily feel it, it's a science experiment for me for to dissect that thing and like try to figure out what the hell that feeling is.
Yeah.
So my own emotions are personal, but once I've like processed it, and usually I channel it into artistic stuff. Once I put it out there, it's gone, it's done. I processed that damn thing. I moved on. Like
Right.
that was a part of who I was then, but they're so mixed up and jumbled and fluffy for me for my own personal emotions. They're really hard to even like perceive. But everybody else's emotions and value systems and motivations and inspirations and all that crap, I can see pretty well, and I can internalize them enough to like work with them and process them with them or for them. But they don't become mine unless I decide to value it or it works with me, or like it's something I need to process. That's more it. I need to process. Because that would be like someone in my family or my significant other. If I had an emotion I didn't like, all right, let me really understand this, take it on, like empathize, like then I process it kind of with them. But it's still not my own, you know what I mean? So my own emotions are just kind of foreign and distant.
I think this is why they say that INFJs are the best counselors or therapists, because a lot of people will go to the INFJ, tell them their problems. A lot of the very deep, a lot of it's really dark, which can, if you're someone that has FI, you can internalize that stuff and take it upon yourself, right? So it's quite toxic. But if you have someone that is an INFJ or someone with FE, they tell you all that stuff, you can feel it with them at the moment, and you can look at it as a science experiment, dissect it, figure it out. But after you're done, it's gone, and you are back to your day-to-day life, and everything's good. Does that sound about right to you? Or
pretty much, yeah. I mean, it sounds cold, and that makes it feel icky that it's like, oh, I moved on.
Yeah, the wording is bad, but like,
No, I know. I'm saying it just because like FE, right?
Yeah.
There is a care, but for me, caring is more about like empathizing in the moment, but deeply considering and understanding kind of the logic and the reasons for it. That's true caring for me. And so like circling back to like somebody pooping on my ideas, same thing, right? If they're not deeply trying to understand the thing that I pulled really hard out of myself to give them, I see it the same way of other people's feelings. Like I try very hard to respect them by considering their emotions and their drive and their motivations and value systems, and understanding them as who they are, their truth. And I can respect it by totally trying to understand and perceive as much of it as I can. But it's kind of automatic. I had to like reflect on it to recognize I'm doing it.
That's so good, man. I think if everyone just did that, like the world would be a better place. Just like
we would be a big hippie commune.
Yeah, no, because like let's say you have NI, and people are actually respecting your ideas, figuring it out, and if they have a problem with it, they can discuss it with you, rationally, and kind of like, oh, hey, Rick, this part of your idea, there's something about it that's kind of iffy. Have you ever thought about this from this angle? You're like, oh yeah, So there's nothing offensive about that. It's actually more in a communal vibe.
Just talking and discussing stuff.
Yeah, and same goes for the feelings, right? Like if someone's feeling bad, and you empathize with them, you respect their feelings. You don't shit on it, and then they feel good after they feel understood, and everything's good to go.
I mean, that's been great for me. Like it's savior stuff there for me to be able to be like, we have a bunch of emotions in front of us. It's kind of blocking us from getting to the thing we really want to get to. Let's address these real quick. Great. You trust me now? We're good. Everyone's happy. Great. Let's talk about the thing and let's move on to the actual stuff here. That's kind of what I do all day long with everything. And then I will analyze other emotions that I don't understand of other people in certain contexts, but that's hobby stuff for me.
So I guess where you would get in trouble then is dealing with people with SI, like lead SI, because then we talk about the NI and your ideas or feelings, right? Like respecting people's feelings, but now the stuff needs to be respected too, right? So that's kind of I can see that as kind of like the problem area for someone that has SE last, because they just don't care about the stuff, right?
Yeah, I have to learn to be cautious and careful. So my boyfriend, when I'm at his place, he's long distance. I think he's SI, higher up somewhere. His stuff is important to him.
You think
I know it's important.
SI?
I do. So
I guess.
And so I know it's important and that's very valuable to him. And so like, I try very hard to understand that and like
Yeah.
cobble together this idea of SI for myself by mashing other functions together, I guess. But it's very much a, like, I am trying so hard to be aware of it in the moment that I'm not going to accidentally drop a glass while I'm pouring my water, while also multitasking, watching a thing or whatever, you know,
Yeah.
because I'm so sensorily aloof. Or making a mess or whatever, dropping something on his couch that might stain or whatever, you know, those sort of things. Or if I borrow someone else's car, I don't care if my car gets scratched. Like, I will put my laptop bag or whatever on the back of the car while I'm getting the dog out, or I won't do it in anyone else's car because I know other people go, oh my God, there's a scratch on my car. I don't care, but I know they do. So I try, but that's an FE thing, caring about them and knowing the SE is a thing that I have to like pay attention to.
Yeah.
It's not really like SI.
I just for some reason I just pictured you having like massive anxiety while pouring your juice in someone's cup and like not dropping it and breaking it, you know, like.
I would say that's happened actually. Yeah, trying to be very, very careful and in the moment and mindful of what's happening. Yeah, and doing the right thing. Yeah.
So Rick, before we wrap up the interview, I have two final questions for you. So first, just share with us like what your YouTube channel is about, and you know what you're trying to do with your channel and what your mission is, I guess, for that channel.
Yeah. So, well, I started a very long time ago, and the name it has is Tricky Ricky II. That's just because it was just like my screen name on Instant Messenger back in the day.
Right.
So that's about it. It has random like Halloween stuff I used to do way back when. But within the last year or two, I started doing more personality-based stuff, self-growth stuff, and I was literally in my apartment here, and I just pulled up my phone and recorded myself saying, "Hey guys, I'm an INFJ, and I'm just going to try and put myself out there." And the thought was, I wanted to stop trying so freaking hard to present myself as specific roles all the times that are necessary, that I deem necessary in certain contexts, and instead go, "Here's all of me," and force it in these other places I normally wouldn't put it. And I was doing it on YouTube. I was just putting out my processing, putting out my thinking, just sharing anything and everything I can as authentically as possible. So for the longest time, I was trying not to edit footage and trying to keep as much of the blah, blah, blah in there and not making it a short, concise message and letting people see this is how I process. A lot of externalizing my thoughts for sleep into video and watching it, right? So it's a lot of that in the beginning. And now it's kind of going more towards, I'm having a little bit more fun with it and also trying to keep it towards self-growth. It seems like it's focusing around self-growth, personal expression, and objective personality, kind of all blending into one thing.
I see. Wow, interesting.
Yeah.
Do you watch the videos that you make?
Mm-hmm. I force myself.
Wow, man, that's fantastic. That's great.
Yeah, I force myself. There's a 40-minute one where I blab on and on and on. I'm like, oh man, this is painful. But some people like it. Like, they watch the whole thing. I can see the stats. I can see that, like, you know, so many percentage of people watch 40 minutes or 40 minutes. I'm like, that's insane. Who would do that? But I put myself through it too, because I want to see, like, what am I processing? What am I actually thinking? Like, what main point keeps coming up that I don't realize as I'm saying it? And that's helping me to be more cognizant of my mental processes as they're happening. So the channel has helped me to do that.
Oh, that's sweet, man. So you have a platform to sleep process as well as building up your brand and personal.
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. I think I'm going to probably push it more towards a personal brand and stuff like that, but we'll get there.
Now, final question is, I have functions. All my functions are different from you, right? So ENFPs and INFJs have naturally always gotten along pretty well. You probably have tons of ENFP friends. I have tons of INFJ friends. A lot of my clients are INFP. They just, I don't know where they came from, but they just appeared.
You just kind of attract them.
I don't know how I have so many INFJ clients, but like it almost boggles my mind how they even found me, you know, like, but I'm not going to go there. But do you have any questions about functions that you don't have that maybe you want to get a better understanding of? Like, I have FI, TE, NE, and SI. Just pick one.
TE.
T?
Tell me about that. What the heck is that?
Oh, T is so easy, man. That's the easiest one to explain. So
great.
I'll do it in a travel setting. So let's say you're planning a vacation for you and your friends. what you want to do is you want to make sure that it works for everyone. Like it's going to make everyone happy. So you go up to every single person and tell them, hey, what do you want to see? What do you want to do? What do you want to eat? And what kind of accommodation do you want? And then they'll tell me the stuff they'll want. I'll mentally remember it or write it down. Go to the next person. What do you want to see? What do you want to do? What do you want to eat? You know, and then I'll write it down. And then when I put together the itinerary for it, I make sure that every single person, what they want is being hit, and we're doing all of it. And that's
and so when you said making sure they're happy, though, that's less about their emotional stuff. It's more about what did they actually tangibly say they want to do or accomplish or whatever, right? Like goals and stuff.
Right, but they're not happy unless it works. So unless you get to do all that stuff, then they're not going to be happy. So you have to be able to make sure that what everyone wants to do is somehow fit in an itinerary. And it's like a puzzle too, right? Because it's like, okay, we only have this much time. How can we make sure that every single thing that everyone wants to do, every person is an individual, and they all have different needs, right? Gets met, right? So then you have to think like, okay, I know this person likes this. And then I look at it from a priority too, right? Like I know this is the one that they want the most, and this is the one that they don't care about the most. So I make sure that the main priority gets hit in the itinerary. Let's say a vacation, from a vacation context, right? So let's say we're going to, I don't know, Thailand, right? So, okay, everyone wants to go eat street food, okay? So we have to make sure this is the area where the street food is. This is where we're going to have our lunch. You know? Yeah.
Yep. It's taking into consideration all the factors of what all the people and all the things are going to be, and make sure they're all kind of working together.
And you put it in a condensed itinerary. Like, so there's like a lot of puzzling involved, right? Because you have to make sure that the thing is.
See, to me, that's a complicated game for me. That's not something that would come natural at all. I have to think I do a bit of that with like project management, delegation, making sure the items that we have to deliver are all accounted for, that clients are happy with their different managers and what they all want. It's hard though. That's hard stuff.
Right. So because I have TE Savior, so for me that's quite, I wouldn't say it's okay, it's easy. It's pretty easy for me. Like in general, like it's I do it all day already.
Yeah.
But I have to FE also, right? Because if I work in fitness or whatnot, I have to make sure the energy level is up and everyone's in a good mood, right? So that is so draining for me. Like I can do it. So in your business, you have to use TE, right? You have no choice. It's part of the deal when you have a business, right?
Yep.
But like for me as a fitness instructor, part of the deal is FE. Like, is everyone's energy high up? Everyone's happy, and it's a struggle because I can't do what you do, which is how do I change my identity for this situation, right? Yeah. I have trouble with it, so I have to. I almost have to like manipulate my state. You know?
That's what it is. Yeah,
and it's super challenging. It because I have to take an extra step, right? Like, so for you to use TE, you almost have to take an extra step because for me to FE, I have to take an extra step. I have to use TE and FI together to use it, right? So for you, you have to use FE and TI together to use TE, right? It's
and there's a lot of sensory that has to be involved, so I have to be accountable to that as well. So it's difficult for that, you know. But that's certainly how I see it playing, is the function that you just mentioned for me.
Yeah.
I have to get the hell away from the people. I take in the info. I make sure I ask the right questions.
Yeah.
I've polished those questions and those lists of questions that I have to ask, so I get the right data points to extract, and I go, okay, bye. And then I can go do it away from them, because if they're around me, I will not be able to tune out like, oh, this one's upset, or this one's that, and this one cares about that, and this one's, I can't tune it out. So I have to get away, look at and internalize the data and the information and like logic, and make it logically back on paper and to present it again.
Is it because the FE is too strong? Like the priority then becomes how to appease people then? Is that why?
Yeah, but it's I wouldn't say appease. It's more like just because there's some sort of like offness or disharmony for the person, I can't stop. It's like somebody being in the corner going like this the whole time, and I can't stop seeing, like, getting my attention over there. You know, it's not like I have to do a thing about it. It's just I can't stop paying attention to it. You know?
Oh, okay, I see. So you can't focus then on the task at hand and find the
solution. Right, because I have to be literally like less sensory. People go away. I have to lock myself away. I have to, the same way I do it for myself. I have to like externalize this information, put it on my iPad, draw it out, write it out, scribble the shit out, and then I make it into a spreadsheet, and then I make it into a chart, and then I can actually put it into a report that I can then present crappily because I just forgot all the details, and I just do it very nice with the little song and dance, and they're happy.
Yeah.
But as long as they have the report.
But I guess you can't do that when someone's like
Yeah, no, it's not gonna happen. Yeah,
oh man, that's so good.
yeah,
I have more resistance to that stuff, by the way. Like if someone's doing that kind of stuff, like because I have FI, so I have like a natural defense, I
yeah,
guess.
yeah.
Yeah, yes. I find that so fascinating. Cool, man. So, man, great interview. Good getting to know you better.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you have any last message. Otherwise, someone's just gonna wrap up the talk.
No, I guess that's pretty much it. I actually really enjoyed this, and thank you for challenging me on the sleep and identity stuff there. You're always welcome to do more of that.
Yeah, that TI, I would like to hear. You know, maybe a few years from now, we'll let you surprise me. Just
Just random message.
Yeah, Kendrick, I found my TI. I'm like, I found my TI. Like, yeah, you know
I
what?
found it. Here it is.
Yeah, man, sweet. Yeah, I got it in my envelope.
Oh man.
All right, dude, I'm gonna wrap this up. So I'll say goodbye to everyone, and thanks,
Right.
Rick. Awesome name as usual. Very FE.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, and I'm gonna stop recording right now.